our screen rooms. And we don't really care to have our neighbor looking down into our pool area when we're out just trying to enjoy the privacy of our back area. Also, as far as the definition of it being called a third story, I know that that may be pursuant to Orange County. There, even if it is a third story, it may be allowed, but the HOA has a number of rules that are far more restrictive than Orange County, and this appears to be one of them. The HOA has very, very strict rules that, I mean, it's a simple statement in the rules, but it's very clear that the residents shouldn't exceed 2 stories. If the board had intended for it to be a height limitation in terms of feet, they could have done that the way that Orange County limits height to 35 feet, but they didn't. They specifically said 2 stories. So in our opinion, this really, it goes above and beyond that second story. So just for our privacy and for the fact that they already have multiple ways of accessing and viewing the lake, it doesn't seem to me that there's any good cause shown as far as why they need a third story viewing platform.
That's the 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Does any other homeowners have a comment on the posted agenda for tonight? How about the homeowners that are listed for a variance request? Amanda, would you call their names and see if they're present?
Yes, give me one moment. I
Thank you.
have Mr. Mike Jane.
I do see him over there.
Yes, I'm here.
Let me see, is that the same as Ma Javier Jane?
Yeah.
Okay, just want
I
to
go
be
by
sure.
Okay.
Actually, those are the
Mr.
only-
Jane, did you
Yeah,
want to
that's
make a
it.
comment?
Since I've requested this variance in October, and as my neighbor said that this is considered as a 3-story, so I would like to first of all say, and in fact, I did email my comments when I was requesting the variance. So as per the Orange County and the building department and the zoning department, it is a 2-story house. Nowhere in the plan it shows as a 3-story house. The observation deck, which doesn't have a roof covering, it is below the roof line, and it is out of the main building. This thing, there is an elevator, but the elevator is just an access to reach that level. As far as the privacy is concerned, as I have the balconies, which is having the same view to the neighbor, this particular deck also has the same view. In fact, this view, the deck is only for the front view of the lake. It is the back side of the building, and it is below the roof line. So there is nothing like the privacy is being, there is any issue on the privacy side, because the view is the same as what I have on the balcony from the bedroom side. So on one of my neighbor
And
Nicole's side,
I'm not sure.
the only view is the pool area, and in fact, I have the same view on that. So I really don't understand on the privacy side. I'm more than happy to walk through them on the property and explain them exactly where I'm trying to put this, to build this observation deck, which is in the center of my building. So it's not on the edges of any of the building side. So I would really I would really request to consider this, my variance to be approved, so I can continue doing the work.
There's something about colors too.
Yeah, okay, we'll go through those.
And yeah, I mean, there are 2-3 other variance requests as well. So do you want me to go through that right now, or I don't know how this works? So
I would think you wanted to do all of it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
okay, so the other one is the body color. So I on the category of the body color. So what I'm requesting is a pure white color, which I understand it's in the trim section, and and that is what I'm requesting, because I really want a pure white color, because that is the main, front of the house and the main color. And all the white which is in the body color are more on the beige side or the grayish side or something. And in fact, there are a resident who have been approved in January, the body color for which was actually in the trim color. So I would really again request to give me the approval on that side as well, on the color side. And the other one was the garage. So the garage, I'm going with the brown color, which is not the same as the body color. And I guess that I would like to request for an approval as well, as in that community, all those custom homes do have different garage colors as compared to their body colors. And the other one is the drippage and the fascia. So the way the house color works, only having one white color, there is no, it's not blending with the modern house, what I'm working to build, what I'm looking to build. And even the new houses over there, which has recently been built, has a different drippage color and has a different fascia, and almost I would say 30-40-50% of those custom homes have different drippage and different fascias and different gutters. So I would like to request for that approval as well. And the 6-pitch roof is basically, that is just the front elevation of the roof, which is below the roof line. And it has been approved by the county with the plans and all. And it's just for the architecture, for the look purpose from the 3-pitch roof. So these were my requests, which I had been applied in as a variance in October, which has been a while now. So I would really request to consider, and we can move forward with it.
Thank you, Mr. Jain. Mr. Taub, these have gone to the Architectural Review Board for consideration. Can you tell me what is the recommendations of yourself and your committee?
Based on our CCs and Rs, also APC itself on it, when it comes to observation that actually is going to a third story of the house, which we do not allow, and our CCs and Rs and APC itself on it. So we, our group denied, our committee denied that. As for like the drip edge and the flashing, that it's also the same exact way. It's got to be consistent throughout the community. We approve for white. So he can go ahead and submit to that as well. Whether another house on the lake has a different color or not, I don't know that. Whether it's approved or wasn't approved, we'd have to do research on that ourselves on it. So we denied that one also as well. Exterior paint on the home, we have lots of different colors itself on it. All the houses, are supposed to be painted with a similar color that are approved, that are more short proof.
One of about 200 colors, I believe.
Correct, yes. And then I know he said he wanted to paint his garage door a dark brown. As our CCNRs and our APCs allow for, the garage door must be painted the same thing as the body color is.
Good. And so is your recommendations that all of these variance requests be denied?
Correct. Yeah, our entire committee did that because they did not fit within the community standards.
Good. Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
Go ahead and make a motion to stand behind what the committee came through with on a denial on those requests that you had.
I think the Architectural Review Board Committee is competent and deliberative in its work, and I would second that motion. Is there any
I
discussion?
have one question
Yes, Steve?
for Rob. So we do have a lot of exterior colors, and I think we have a lot of white colors, as I remember. Do you know, or did Mr. Jain tell you whether or not there's a color close to what he wants to paint, or is this one?
He wants, the white that he wants is like the ultra white that we use only for trim. He wants that as a body color. That's what he wants.
But we do have other whites.
Yeah, we have a ton of other whites. I know Carlos, invited him over to look at all those as well. I believe he also came out and looked at it himself, but he really, he wants to have that particular white.
Okay, got it.
Good. Any other further discussion? All in favor of denying the architectural review variance request from Mr. Jane on all counts? Say aye. Aye. Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you.
Do you want to do the other one?
Yes, we have one more, the Marrera. Not sure if I'm saying that
That's the one on
correctly.
Bay Pine Lane.
It is Bay Pine Lane.
Good.
Okay.
Are the Moreras on?
I think that should be Soraya.
It is Soraya
It
Marrera.
doesn't look like it, but I can't.
Okay, Rob, can you brief us on that, please?
Okay, so basically they had a roof replaced and the roof is a very light gray, almost like a white color, which of course is not, to our community, what the trees on it, weatherwood or driftwood itself on it. So I guess they were given a violation after that, and they brought it to the yard, and unfortunately, we could not approve that itself. They sent it over to the board for that. Fortunately, this is my neighbor, so I had to recuse myself from it, because it is my neighbor.
Good. What is your recommendations?
I don't want to make a recommendation because it's my neighbor.
Okay, I'm sorry. What was the recommendation of
The
ARB?
ARB denied it because it's not one of the approved colors. The approved color that we have is weatherwood and driftwood and shingles.
Okay, based on the denial from the Architectural Review Board, I make a motion that we deny this variance request. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor of denying this ARB request? Aye. Aye. Unanimous? Okay, do we have any other homeowner comments in regard to tonight's agenda? If not, then Amanda, can you give us the manager's report, please?
Sure. This is the manager's report that was provided on Friday to the board. And a few of the key points were the Marsh Pine Pond, the weir repair is completed and sod was being laid this week. I actually have a meeting on site tomorrow with the vendor and board member John Dick to review everything, make sure everything's okay. Obviously, the tennis courts and the basketball courts, that project is completed as far as the resurfacing. Tennis courts are currently closed due to damage caused by a BB gun, and they actually were going to be on site tomorrow to make that repair. I received a phone call today telling me it will instead be Thursday because the glass was delayed by a day. So now they intend to be here on Thursday to make that repair. Once that is open, I'll let the board know and reach out and get approval for opening those tennis courts.
And by BB gun, do you mean vandalism?
Yes, there
Deliberate.
was, yeah, we found all kinds of BB pellets all over the tennis court. So it was right after that holiday break. So likely someone got a BB gun and chose to test it out up here. Yeah.
I came up and met Amanda one day late last week and we walked the 3 courts and there's glass all over the courts, not just underneath the line fixture, which surprised me that the type of glass, it's just spread.
It's moving. And when we have been cleaning it, so I think that that's evident too, that it is continuing to fall. There is still a little bit, I think it's on the left side of the fixture. Maybe it's all down now, but once that repair is complete and we receive notice from the owner, we'll make sure that a good cleaning is done because I think it, like he said, it's just all over. So
Amanda, what would you estimate is the approximate cost of that vandalism?
I do not know, but I'm guessing somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500.
And then how many weeks are the tennis courts down for the repair?
It'll be about 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks.
After we went through all the efforts and fine work from the tennis committee to resurface those courts and all that
Yes, unfortunately.
at the nicest time of year too.
It is, I know. And we've had a lot of owners who are upset. Of course, it's a great amenity and now's the perfect time to use it.
Okay.
Right. Well, we have to err on the side of caution with, part of the glass falling down around the, on the court itself though, too.
Of
Right.
course. Good. Well, thank you for,
What was also disappointing when we walked it, lots of rocks being
Mhm.
thrown onto the court. Rocks.
Yeah, so there's rock along the perimeter of it. And, I mean, I can only guess, but what it appears is that maybe when children are walking the sidewalk to and from the school, it's easy to pick up a rock and throw it over the fencing and so maybe on one of our weekly reminders, we can just put something out asking parents to just chat with their children about, walking to school and
Good idea.
yeah, good point, Steve. Good point, Amanda. Please do.
Okay, and
That was a recommendation by the electric company to go ahead and keep the sports closed.
correct, that is so. Yes, I actually met with him on site. The first time he came out, obviously, he said, yes, we absolutely need to keep it closed. And then the second time when he came out, he said that, there's still evidence of glass and he would suggest, because it is easily tracked in the bottom of shoes and things like that. But there was so much of it when we were out there the other day. It's not just tracking, it's blowing as well.
Okay.
So the other amenity, the fitness center is now open by appointment only weekdays during office hours here with the access staff, and on weekends it's monitored by AKA services. And let me see here. We have an ARB committee meeting tomorrow, the 20th at 5 o'clock. We have a compliance committee meeting February 4th. We have John now in the office with us, John DeCroce. For those of you that are on the phone, he is a access staff member, and we have brought him on board to help out with compliance in the community. That's all I got.
Thank you, Amanda. Good report. Next item on the agenda was the bylaw.
Hi, excuse me.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Angie, we're gonna then just do comments again at the end. So we'll get, I see you raising your hand. We'll get to you at the end, okay? Yeah, there's one hand raised. I mean, we could do it now, or you want to just, it's probably more efficient now to just do it at the end. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the second amendment to the bylaws, and it's cleaning up some of the language in Article 3 and in Article 8.
Good. I second that motion. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda was communications.
So we recently met with representatives from Accent Communications. They are communication consultants, and they have given us a proposal to help out with communications in the community, to help the board transmit information on a regular and consistent basis to the community, allow for better communication between homeowners and the board and homeowners and the staff. Probably create a new community website, which we've been planning for the last 2 or 3 years, so that we, as management companies, typically come and go in any community. We always lose our website and we have to start over with a new website. So we budgeted that, a new website for 2021, so they would help with that. They would help out with social media, with newsletters, all kinds of communication, but they are consultants, and the proposal they've given us is a 6-month proposal at monthly retainer of $4,375 for up to 35 hours a month. And any cost, out-of-pocket cost, or et cetera, would be in addition to that, or any additional hours over and above 35 hours a month would be billed at the rate of $125 an hour. So I'm going to propose that we enter into a 6-month agreement with Accent Communications, according to the terms of their proposal.
I second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
No.
That concludes the scheduled agenda of the board meeting, and we can take homeowner comments if there are any remaining besides Angie.
All right, yeah, right now there's 3, so. I'm muting you first, Angie. Are you?
Oh,
right.
okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So I would like to ask about the bylaw amendment and, specifically what in Article 3 and in Article 8 is being changed, and why could we not, hopefully in the future, have such details included as an attachment in the agenda. Also, I think more specific agendas would be helpful. And I also would like to know if we can anticipate tomorrow a notice of a board meeting on Friday.
Is that all, Angie?
I think that's all for now. Are you going to answer?
We'll take your point about more detail in the agenda under advisement. We used to put all those attachments to it, and the feedback previously was it was too long and cumbersome and it wasn't being read, and we were cautioned to be more concise. And that was the feedback that we got. So some people want it very concise and understand what's going on, and some people want exploded detail. There is no board meeting scheduled for Friday. Next homeowner.
Susan Broadwell has her hand raised.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, David?
Good, thank you.
Good. I just was wondering, I know the basketball courts have been closed for a long time, and then because of COVID, resurfacing, and then also, you know, boards being pulled down or whatever. And I know in our, you know, our rules, bylaws, whatever the correct term is, not having basketball goals, you know, outside your house or whatever. But speaking for myself, and I think a bunch of other people, my son is one of them, you know, that's all they do is run around outside. They don't want to, they're not getting in trouble. They're not playing video games all day. They're just boys who want to play, and they can't right now because the basketball courts have been, you know, broken or closed for so long. I did recently see on our Facebook page, people complaining that kids were up at Moss Park, which, you know, I have no clue who those are, and we want to avoid that. But I was just wondering, is there maybe a little leeway for some of this?
Yeah, Susan, I think once again, that's a very spot on, great suggestion from you. 2 points to that. Number one, I would be in favor of us waiving the basketball court restriction, the basketball personal residential basketball restriction while the community courts were closed. They would have to be put away and attractive and all the things that are appropriate with that. But the reason that we had taken the hoops down from the basketball courts is there was absolutely no social distancing, and the majority of the people using the basketball courts were not North Shore residents that we had no ability to communicate with. So a couple points along your comment, Susan. Number one, we're going to take.
I was just also going to mention there was vandalism to one of the backboards as well.
Yes, and of course vandalism to basketball, just like the tennis court. And we don't know if that vandalism was done by North Shore residents or not, but a couple points on that, Susan. Number one, we're going to take a quote to fence in the association property, including the ball field, to try and limit the non-North Shore use. We had gotten quotes in the past for that, and it was over $100,000, plus card readers that break and get vandalized. And we listened to a lot of the comments that came to us during the annual meeting that in this period of COVID, where a lot of homeowners were distressed and had some financial strains, which certainly is quite common now, that this would be a hard time to have expenditures. But I think we are going to get some bids, at least 3, to fence in the amenities with card readers and try and stop the trespass and reduce the vandalism. And the question is whether we can open up the basketball courts now and put the hoops on along with the tennis courts and the limited access of the fitness center. So why don't we talk about this for a minute or two as the board? Steve, do you have some feelings on?
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah, Susan.
Okay, sorry, just to bump in before. Yes, and David, I was aware of all of the vandalism and why the courts were down and all of that, and it makes me sad. I've been on the grounds committee for, I don't know, 5 years maybe, and I remember we talked about fencing it in. And as I have driven, there was back and forth about, do we want to make our community another big tall fence or whatever, but as I've driven around and I go to a lot of these other neighborhoods, Story Park, Gloria Park, they all have the big fences and even maybe some I'm sure some, my mind's blank, the Ring cameras or something like that. It's sad that we have to come to this, but with all of our homeowner dues and all that, but I know that that would be a hot topic for a lot of people, but I do agree with that. And so I appreciate you taking it on. The hard thing is taking the basketball goal in and out every night, especially like during the week, maybe, yeah, when kids are in school. Like my son, we had COVID last week, so we were home all week. He was fine. He was asymptomatic. So, I mean, it was just one of those things that it was like he wanted to play. But, and I know why we don't always want him up, because it doesn't always look good. But anyways, that's just the heart behind, like, can we, we've got boys and kids who really don't want to wander around and get in trouble. They just want to play, and so anyways, but I appreciate you at least considering this for a short time.
Okay, Susan, so I think that's a great suggestion. I think that we will take that under advisement. Do we want to talk about that now, or do we want to contemplate the basketball hoops?
I'd try to suggest, or I'd suggest maybe Amanda and John, because this will come under compliance, try to come up with quickly a recommendation for some limited period of where a homeowner could leave a basketball hoop out, maybe for the next couple of months, next 3 months, just a very limited period, not in the street, not at the end of the driveway. It can't be anything like that, but I think you guys could take a look at it, and we could make an exception or a variance for a short period of time, exactly what Susan's recommending.
Yeah, so Susan, today is Tuesday. I think that we can have an answer by the end of the week on maybe easing those restrictions.
And we-
Maybe by the end of next week.
No, that's okay, because what we can do is we can, review that, and then with our end of the week e-blast to homeowners, we can include that information in there.
This week?
It is, but I can make sure that that's done Thursday prior to me not being in the office on Friday.
So you'll be here Thursday,
Correct.
but not Friday.
Correct.
or-
And Monday and Tuesday.
Okay, Susan, we'll jump right on that, and let me compliment you and your son for having COVID and still feeling good enough to play basketball. Folks that I know have been had significant hospitalization and still after effects, so good for you to be young and virile.
Yeah,
Good.
4 of the 5 of us got it, and we were all like pretty much no symptoms. But yes, but thank you guys so much for considering it and discussing it. I appreciate it. Thanks.
I think it's a great suggestion. Thanks for sharing. Good, next.
Okay, there's someone named Stephanie. Just Stephanie.
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I just have kind of a question in general. I'm new to the community, and this is the first board meeting that I've attended. And it's run quite different from HOA meetings that I've attended before. So I was curious, whenever you guys voted for example, like the bylaws changed, I noticed that you went through the motions and then discussion, but then it wasn't open to the homeowners. Is that typical? Like, do the board members, is it discussion only between board members, or do homeowners get a say in the votes?
Well, the board makes the decision to vote Stephanie, and we had commentary on the agenda for, homeowners prior to that. In this case, it was just a couple of extremely minor changes, I understand, for verbiage on what was passed previously.
Okay, but I didn't get the, on the agenda didn't say specifically like what it was going to be voted on. So I would appreciate if there were voting items, if the agenda could be a little more detailed so we knew what was coming up.
Sure, or we would have answered that earlier, but thank you. Good suggestion.
My question was an answer, what was changed, and when are we going to get to see that?
It will be mailed to every resident in the next mailer.
Which should be about when? And why can't it be emailed and posted on the neighbor network?
We could.
We could, I mean, you have to be mailed, it has to be mailed for the statute. Yeah, you could
I
certainly.
would say, why wasn't it read before you changed it?
Okay, okay, so hold on. Let's finish with one person. That's why we're doing it like this. Did we get Stephanie? Did all your questions get answered? Are you done with your time?
Also, when would be the next election?
All that'll be coming out shortly. It's going to be, I mean, we're looking at a date right now before spring break.
Really?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next is, Lauren started speaking out there, I think. So Lauren, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Okay, so I'd like to say, I think that a bylaw that's being changed should definitely be read out loud for the membership to hear. And that way you can actually have discussion that you called for, but no one knew what you were talking about because you failed to put it on the agenda, failed to provide a copy of what you were voting on. So how can we have discussion if you don't tell us what we're voting on? The second thing is, I appreciate that the basketball goals or whatever you call them need to be put back up. However, the problem at Moss Park Elementary is kids hopping the fence. So spending HOA funds to put up a fence that kids can just hop is ridiculous. And then the kids will just break an ankle as they hop over the fence because they're not following the rules at Moss Park. So what makes you think that 100 feet closer to the road that they're going to suddenly follow the rule? That's ridiculous. I think these meetings should not be run by the lawyer, should be run by the actual HOA. I think that the way you guys hold these meetings is absolutely ridiculous. You give us moments to speak, you don't answer questions, and it's absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. I'm done. I yield my time.
I don't know what questions that we haven't answered, but thank you. Next.
Angie specifically said, what bylaw was changed? You did not answer it. What bylaw was changed? Read the language tonight on this recorded call so that we all know what you're doing. Don't tell me, well, we'll email it or we'll mail it in a week. No, tell us tonight so that we can discuss it, because I think that you guys are doing something sketchy and I don't trust you anymore. I don't trust you to spend our money. Why are we paying right now when you know you have recall ballots sitting on a desk somewhere? Why are we paying for a website, webmaster? Why are you spending more of our money right now?
Well, that was a budget item approved by the budget committee and the community. And the feedback is that we don't communicate enough. So having a functioning website and
currently you have no rights to your seats in about another, what, 12 hours? So you shouldn't be spending any money.
Okay, next is Brian Fowler.
Yeah, kind of same question. If they're minor bylaws and we're in the middle of a meeting right now with so many interested community members, can you just relay those minor changes to the community?
You know, Brian, it was my decision to not read it because it is multiple pages. But if you would like them read,
please do. I thought you said they were minor changes.
Exactly, minor.
But the bylaws are multiple pages, but we're happy to read them.
Or you can share the screen.
Well, we keep hiding stuff from all the homeowners.
Maybe we just e-blast them out tomorrow.
Yeah, or we'll just e-blast them out tomorrow. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Should have sent them out with the original agenda so we could have all had access to it and read it. Stop hiding. Stop sending the email blast that you send out, that you have access to everybody's email, but then you sit there and chastise everybody else on the email that you sent out.
And they really should have been sent out before you changed them so that we could have discussed it. You can't discuss something that you don't know what is. I'm sorry that I have not memorized all of our bylaws to know what section 3 and section 8 are.
Okay, Brian, do you have anything more that you want to say? It's your turn.
No, I'm just I was waiting for him to read the bylaws, the changes in the bylaws.
Yeah, it's there's words here and there. It's you would have to see both of them. I mean, you can't, they would just have to basically.
We're waiting.
Why can't you share the screen to show it to us?
Does anybody have anything to say beside, who has not yet spoken? I see Mike Drew.
Hi, yes. I have spoken a couple of times. I've lived in North Shore now since August of 2019, and I would like to think I'm an educated character. And from what I've seen and heard over the duration of time, I have kind of kept my feelings very neutral and reserved. But I have come to the conclusion that this current board is not fit for purpose. And we do need a change. And I would like to also echo what the others have said. I would like you to read out the change in the bylaws, please. That's my first request. Second is, please, can we just have complete transparency? I appreciate there might be some certain things that go on legally outside of the realms of what should go on in a standardized HOA, but I'm very upset and concerned as to where our money's going and how this board is acting. And I think these calls and these meetings really portray such a bad image of what our community is right now and where it should be. And like I say, I appreciate things have gone on maybe else and around, which I don't want to sort of, put my hand into at all, any legalities. But as I see, and as I've kind of made an educated decision to where we sit right now, I am looking, I am one to sign for you guys to be removed. And as I said at the start of the call, I would like for you to read out those changes in the bylaws, as others have said. All right, thank you.
And I believe that regarding board member indemnification and liability, is that correct? Those minor changes? Is that the section article that we're talking about?
That is one of the articles that's changed. There's a few words that were added, but you're going to send it out to an email blast, right?
Well, the word is not or are not liable could be, even though they're few words, they can have a large impact.
Yeah, I agree with Brian on that. And I would like to also just make one final note. The fact that we have a lawyer running this meeting and seems to be running a lot of things right now, it's very, very concerning. It concerns me, concerns many, and I would appreciate if Orlando Law Group, please take a step back and allow the community to have a voice and for us to do things properly going forward.
Good. And Mr. Drew, you're new in the community, but there's been a lawyer present at the board meetings, I think, for the better part of the last decade.
Yeah,
because legal items are asked to be commented on, and none of us are. We did have a board member who was an attorney at one time, but for well before we were on the board, there were attorney or multiple attorneys sitting in on board meetings because there were often legal questions answered, and that's not something that started with this board, sir.
I appreciate that, Mr. Good. However, the fact that they are running the actual meetings and seem to be running a lot of things. We
use their Zoom. Sorry, I don't have Zoom. Okay.
Zoom's pretty much free. I'm very, very concerned right now, and I would like to do this again. Would you please read out the changes in the bylaws, because we just had a vote take place. We have not had any visibility on this, and the fact that you can't read it right now, and I'm pleased that this is being recorded, and I hope that this recording is shared with all present as homeowners. I find it very, very concerning that you cannot just read these out. Thank you.
It won't be shared, neither will the minutes to any of the meetings for the last, 6 years?
Okay. I don't know if you want to address the fact that all this stuff is on the website somewhere, the meeting minutes, the financials and all of that. I mean, they are, but.
No, they're not. They're hidden. You can't find anything. And we know.
I know.
Stop muting me.
Okay. Good. If there are no other homeowner comments, we're going to adjourn the meeting at 5:43.
Okay.
Thank you for the great
I
suggestion.
have a question.
My hand was raised.
I have a question.
I
have a question. This is Will Arwood, and I have a question.
All right.
Several people with their hands up.
Yeah, this is Will Arwood. I have a question. I've been quiet through all of this. I too would like to echo the sentiment of having the bylaw language presented before voted on. It reminds me of a time not too long ago where we heard Congress say we have to pass it to find out what's in it, which seems absurd. So I think that's something that should be presented to all to be able to entertain a discussion on. I'm concerned that we're not able to at least weigh one way or the other. We didn't even know what part of Article 3 or Article 8 you're speaking of, not just, here's where we changed this to or, and you provided no detail, no example, or even, any further detail on that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, based upon that, I'd like to ask you to recall that vote and provide that information to the homeowners and allow them to see that before you try to implement that. And then the third thing that I have a question on is, will you be acknowledging the recall that was submitted to the agent?
Is that everything?
That is everything.
Okay, yes, the board is going to follow 720. So yes. Okay, there's Dolores Petropoulos.
Yes, if you're acknowledging the recall, then why aren't you doing it with these board members and replace them with the ones that we've asked for as a community?
Is that everything that you had to
We
say?
had 612 people that asked for this recall. Pardon me? I'm asking you a question.
The board will be following the statute. This is a regularly scheduled board meeting to address some of the stuff that had to be addressed. There's Christina Hines.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to ask a question. I've lived in this community for a few years and have been silently watching behind the scenes what's going on. And we moved to this neighborhood because we now have a 4-year-old. I was pregnant at the time, and we moved to this neighborhood because we saw kids playing and the people that we saw walking around. And we've really enjoyed this neighborhood. But unfortunately, with everything that is going on, we don't feel that there's transparency or a sense of community living here. When we come as a community to recall the board, the actions aren't being taken. I don't understand why you cannot give us the abridged version of what's been changed. I'm sure you have a tracked change document that shows for these bylaws that were changed. Can you not just give us the words that have been changed and what's being directed in the 2 items that were just voted on? I don't think you need to read all of the pages, but you could direct us on where the changes were made so we could go look at them.
Or share the screen and show it to us.
Do you have any other comments?
Yes, I'm asking for you to give me the words that were changed for the bylaw so I can go look at it myself while I wait for you to send out the communications. So can you give me the verbiage, the exact verbiage that was changed?
That's not getting read out today. They're going to email it out tomorrow. So is there any other?
Who are you and who are you to make that decision?
And you as an attorney should know that words mean everything. And those words make a difference. So we need to know what you voted on so that we're an informed community.
Article 8 is very short, 2 short paragraphs.
Is there any other comments besides asking the bylaws to be read out?
Can I say something?
Can I make a comment? It has nothing to do with bylaws. I want to ask a question about the communication consultant. Can I speak?
Yeah, you've been waiting. Go ahead.
Okay. What is the job of Steve Smith to put a motion on the table for Accent Communications? I would like to know what is the job of this communication consultant and what are they doing exactly for the 6 months? Why is this being agreed on? And I want clarification on the funds as well. I believe he stated $4,300 and some odd dollars. Is that monthly? I wanted clarification on that as well.
Anything else?
I would like an answer to my question.
that?
Yeah, you're good.
So, I couldn't hear every single word. I apologize. I'm socially distancing. So, I think the last part of your question, is it $4,375 is per month for 35 hours a month for a 6-month period. They will be assisting the HOA with the existing Facebook page and other, instituting other social media avenues. They'll be assisting the HOA staff with newsletters and communications. They'll be assisting the HOA staff in developing an HOA-owned website, again, which has been in the works for the last 2 or 3 years. And so hopefully that will be up and running pretty soon so that we won't have to face changing websites every time the management company might change. They'll be assisting the HOA staff with all social media communications. The idea is to be as transparent as we possibly can and in a efficient and effective way to get communications out to the community as often as possible. None of us on the board are journalists. We're not professional writers. The HOA staff does a good job, but their hands are pretty full right now with their existing jobs. So this is just to help us get up and running as a community. It's something that's been talked about for the past 2 or 3 years. We've tried it with other consultants in the past. Andy, I forget Andy's last name, that assisted with newsletters in the past. Just trying to get more information out to the community as fast as we possibly can and as accurate as we possibly can. It seems like most homeowners are interested in receiving more information and more accurate information. So this is a firm, that's what they specialize in, and they'll be helping the HOA staff and be helping the board.
Okay, next there's Ryan Carlson.
Hey, thank you. So in the light of what was just shared by the board member and being, improving communication and improving transparency, why doesn't the board back up that statement with an action by explaining what was changed in the bylaws, or why you believe it shouldn't be shared in the meeting would also be acceptable? Why cannot it be shared in this meeting so you can show us that you would like to be transparent with the homeowners?
Okay, do you have anything else that is not related to the bylaws for your time?
I'm actually talking about communication here and backing up the statement that was just given. Show us that you mean what you say.
Okay.
Noted. Thank you.
One quick comment to kind of answer all these people. So I don't have a document in front of me that specifically outlines what changes might have been made. I have the final document after changes. I think Mr. Garden alluded earlier, and Jennifer, you might want to jump in, but it's some wording changes to Article 3. If you remember, maybe Jennifer, you're going to help me when the amendment was passed, changing Article 3, maybe.
It was in the summer. I mean, yeah, the main issue, the main thing is that there was confusion in the community about the mail-in voting. So it's to clarify some of that wording to try to make it more clear. Access and our office worked on it together to try to make it more clear. People who do this every day think it's clear, but apparently there was a lot of confusion in the community, and we're trying to make it easier to vote by mail with everything that's going on in the world. So it was to clarify some of the confusion that was brought up by people in the community about what the process was and what the procedures were. So that's what the changes are.
And
Good.
then let me address Article 8 also, because there were some minor wording changes. So Article 8 basically talks about liabilities of board members and indemnification of board members and ARB members and other volunteers, but it wasn't clear as to what that meant. So we added some language so that to protect all volunteers from legal actions, not just board members, but board members, officers, members of the ARB, or members of any other committee would be covered by these two clauses. And that's so that people will be willing to volunteer and not have to run the risk of personal liability for an act they did as a committee member. If a community resident is upset with something, let's say a compliance committee member that votes to fine them, and then that homeowner decides to sue that committee member, we want to make sure that the Article 8 liability and indemnification not only covers board members and ARB committee members, and that was the original language, but it covers all volunteers. So that's the gist of the language of the changes. And again, I don't have the exact changes, I just have the final product in front of me.
Yeah, Mr. Carlson, the gist of it is if we had, the social committee brings food trucks in here one night and a food truck gives a resident food poisoning or diarrhea, that the social committee member is not sued or at least protected by the community. And look, I clearly heard you eloquently talk about more information and more detail. And I've been coming to board meetings for many years, and I've been on the board for 2 terms. And board meeting information was regularly over 100 pages. And residents came and chastised us to be concise and deliberate and to offer some bullet points. So we go back and forth between people think that parking should be enforced more and parking shouldn't be enforced, to I can't get an ambulance, to what happens when I have 100 people at my house. So we had phone books of information for every single board meeting. If we had 15 bids for landscaping, we had 15 35-page bids out here prepared for everyone. And people yelled at us because it was ridiculous to read this kind of volume and this much information. So we started making things concise. And by the way, Mr. Carlson, I don't know how long you've been here, but board meetings used to last till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning as we went through every one of these items. 4, 5, 6 hour board meetings. We think we like to have board meetings an hour, hour and a quarter, and it's dinner time and people are stressed and it's been long days and we're all volunteering and you're all interested parties. So we've tried to make things tight and concise. You know, in regard to people saying we don't take questions, we have a website. We try and do as much as we can as volunteers, some of us putting in 20, 30, 40 hours a week. You know, you'll have new members coming up on the board. There'll be new volunteers and people can put their own take on it. And if it wants to go back to how it was a few years ago where members had to wait till midnight to talk and you went through 100 pages of stuff, then certainly that could be their prerogative too. But somewhere in between is the right balance. We're going to email blast this out. Every homeowner will be mailed a copy as required under 720. And your points are taken for sure.
Thank you. I think, I would just contend that the pendulum has swung too far to the side of not sharing the information. I would contend that we actually didn't get bullet points about, what was going to be changing in the bylaws to give anyone an idea about what concerns they might want to raise, what questions they have. Thank you for hearing my point.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Jane, if you have stuff that's not related to your variance.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, so so the variance was requested in October and we are 90 days out. So isn't it as per the governing documents that after 30 days, it automatically gets approved.
No, yes. No, that's not the case in this case because your plans were never approved in the first place. That's a very different situation because it's new construction. So it's different. It's not the same. The plans were, the ARB did say no. So this is just another.
Yeah, but then the resubmission was done. That is what the resubmission was done in October with.
And Mr. Jain, since your adjoining neighbors participated tonight, your house has been under construction for, is it 4 years, 5 years, 6 years?
No, it's not been 4, 5, or 6 years, sir. I understand whatever has been submitted.
When do you plan on finishing up your house, Mr. Jain? Because your two adjoining neighbors have dealt with years of.
And have already given all the details on when the house has been completed and everything. I think we are working on finishing it by. I think it's been given all the minutes to Jennifer that by June or July we should be done with the project.
But
and the other thing is some of the.
We haven't seen that. So when do you anticipate your house being done after all these years?
I think in July or something, we should be done with the house, June or July.
I'm sure your adjoining neighbors would be delighted. Thank you.
Okay, Bruce.
Sir, can I speak something or I'm not allowed to speak?
I mean, I think the board is kind of heard.
Yeah, but I would like to know the exact details of why it has been declined as far as color is concerned or the garage door is concerned.
We have over 200 colors, Mr. Jain, over 200 colors.
So how another house?
We are unaware of any other house with that color. And the Architectural Review Board has done a lot of work and put in over 200 colors for the palette. It is, your request was heard.
Sir, it's not about 200 colors. What about the other house which has been approved a trim color to use as a body color? Can you please? That has been done by your management, and I'm building a custom home.
The management does not approve the colors. The Architectural Review Board does, and they're unfamiliar with the
management in the sense the whole ARB or the board, whoever it is approved by the ARB committee. And when you say it's 200 colors, there are 2,000 colors in the world. So it's not about 200 colors, but there has to be the body color is 90% of the house is the body color. And only 10% is the trim color. If someone likes a white color, it needs to be a pure white color. Okay. And all the white colors, if you can match it, those are all like grayish and brownish and beige and all that kind of thing. So, I mean,
yeah, I mean, I think the decision has been made.
Yeah, Mr. Jain, the ARB committee heard you and the board heard you, and it is very non-conforming. Thank you.
Okay, Bruce.
This is Miriam Berthoff. Thank you for recognizing me. Want to thank you for posting the reserve study. Mr. Smith, did you review it?
Did you review the reserve study?
Did I review it? Yes.
Okay, I found that it is incongruent. I mean, I'm only saying this because I think you should send it back and get it corrected. The expenses for 2025, which are very large, it's over 2 million, it's almost $3 million because we need to do the asphalt in the association. But when you get to the annual expenses in the back, pages 40 through 51, it says it misses a year's expenses for 2024. And if we accrue the monies as stated in here, approximately a little over 400,000 a year for each and every year, we will not have enough money in reserves to do the 2025 repairs. So please review it, and I would send it back and get this corrected.
Writing that down then. Okay, I'll take a look at it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Matheson. There's one more Matheson.
Yep, good, thank you. Two things. One of them is the bylaw changes or proposed changes could have been sent out as the law requires 45 days in advance. People could have read them, could have studied them and so on. My overall question is, when are you going to host a public meeting to certify the recall?
Do you have any other questions?
Well, that's a question that deserves an answer.
Another board meeting should be on Monday at 5 o'clock.
Monday at 5 o'clock, there'll be a board meeting on that,
Yes, sir.
and that'll be announced when?
When the management company gets to do that, they do that.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's everybody.
Beautiful. It's 6:05. Thank you for everyone who participated. Thank you for the good suggestions. We'll add what we can. We're going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all very much. Have a good night.